yeah, yeah. Like warm sun, shine for me, baby. Shine down, down. Dum da dum da da dum da da dum da da dum da da dum dum dum. You're playing for me.
So there was the making of the theme music for the brand new news bed, the news bed and the new show that we have on TTT, and the producer himself, Keshav Laserbeam Chandranath Singh, and he's here with us via Zoom this morning to tell us a little bit as we celebrate World Television Day. We're going to discuss, making the theme song for something like the news or any show, movie, television production especially. Keshav, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Jiron. Good morning, everybody in the studio. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
Keshav, that jacket swanky too bad, boy. I love it.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I'm in Miami right now, so when in Miami, right?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. All right.
That little sound in the news bed where you say, oh, that's swanky more than the jacket. that's on
Natalie saying she enjoyed when you did the little vocal treatment inside the news bed.
The last time I was on, I was really rushed and I was like not well prepared. So today, I woke up on time and I paid for you.
Nice, nice. We appreciate it. Keshav, tell me about the process of creating the news bed for Panorama. Or for the news,
Yeah,
sorry.
you know what? It's something that, interestingly enough, like I kind of foreshadowed in my mind, and it's something that I've wanted to do for quite some time. My mother was on TTT back in the 80s and 90s,
Nice.
A kind of a television pioneer in Trinidad and Tobago's media. And so I grew up in and around the station. And it definitely, for me, encapsulates a sense of national pride, the way that we present ourselves in a really sort of professional manner. And, now that I've been in a music production career for the better part of 20 years, I have, relished the chance in increments to jump out of just making creative stuff, albums, soca music, things that kind of represent Trinity on another side of the musical global stage, and go into the advertising and the scoring side. So doing films, doing Anya Young, she's Project Runway soundtrack to her show, and these other different things like that. I recently rebranded the Fanatis Black Label campaign, and I've been doing a few different things like that, because when they're meaningful to me and they are attached to the national brand, I think it's a really important thing for me to do. So yeah, it was a no-brainer when you guys approached me, and I was very grateful to be able to do it. And I have so many instruments. I happen to be in Miami at my parents' place. As you all know, my parents are Chan and Anita Chandranath Singh. And my dad was an incredible musician before he became a lauded diplomat for TNT for so many years. So I am here in a house with real instruments of Trinidad and Tobago and the rest of the world. So Arabic stuff, Indian stuff, Chinese stuff, African stuff. And as you guys saw in the clip, that's what I utilize to incorporate all of our different heritages in a way, and also a nod to the original Panorama music, so that we encapsulate it into this nowness, futureness, back to the future, very super Trinbagonian thing.
Yeah. I have to say that when I heard it, I remember thinking that, no, this sounds good. I actually like it, because to me, when I have a theme music or a bed, I always want to be able to hum it right off the bat, because that tells me how catchy it is. And I was able to do that with yours. No, it's true. You have some music, no matter how many times it's played, you can never ever remember it, one, or two, repeat it.
Well, that was the intent, to make something that, of course, this is for news, and then talking to the production team at the station, we wanted to make sure that it was something that was, serious, and also attention grabbing, in the sense that it's time for news. It's time, your day's going to start no matter what time. There's different iterations, of course, for the different segments and different things, but we wanted to capture the attention, not distract, and also be something that is a call to action, a call to remembrance. So there's a lot of psychology involved in that, and that's a big part of the production game.
Keshav, do you put this? Sorry, go ahead, Anchor. Anchor had a question.
Well, just continuing off the production and the dynamics therein, you have one that has to, as you say, attract without distracting, and then you've also created things outside of the iconic Trinidad scene, because you would have done the score for the latest Apple commercial, actually, which is entirely different. We're talking soca production, we're talking news production, we're talking commercial productions, very dynamic. So what is the distinguishing factor there?
Thank you. Hi, Ainka. Morning. Yes, it's you know what? To me, it's all part of my spirit backbone, my spiritual backbone, which is Trinbagonian music and the different iterations that I put out music in. You know, I'm one half of Just Now, and we're the producers of Big Bad Soca and Trucking Road, Stink Behavior, a lot of canal stuff. And you know, that's one side of it. That is kind of our music done by us for the international audience, for us, for everywhere. Then there's the advertising side, you know, where for me, as I said, I dip into it whenever I think it's really meaningful and it's something that can enact cultural change, and I think that's what this is. So for me, I'm just a vessel of that, you know, like, you know, cultural change and the Trinbagonian sound of now. But yeah, lots of stuff been going on. It was cool to do the Apple commercial. It was actually the spot that announced all of the product lineup, like the iPhone 13, et cetera. And it was like a super Trini beat. Look for that to turn into a rhythm as well, too. That's actually happening. And I did something recently as well with the Fernandez Black Label rebrand campaign, and I made a rhythm called the Live Again Rhythm, which incidentally has my vocal singing debut on it, called The Wickedest. And the rhythm also features Nyla Blackman and lyrical, so that's out now. And incidentally, yesterday I brought up a second vocal single called Warm Sun, and my brethren Jaron has that.
Yeah, we used it just now during the billboard, actually, when we were coming to you. But Keshav, I'm curious. Tell me, do you always put this much thought into, if you're doing theme music for shows, like all that intent and all that purpose? Is it in every single production that you do?
Of course, has to be.
Well, Jaron, you know, you and I have known each other for quite some time. You know, sometimes it really just could be a kind of energy that embodies itself in however it wants to call and tell you what to do.
Yeah.
You know? So if it's a party record, you know, for instance, I'll give you an example of Big Bad Soca, because people know that. I was actually visiting my parents again. They're a great spot. They're inspired. Whenever I get to see them, I was in China, in Beijing, and I started that beat while my mother was like really trying to get me ready to go to see the Imperial City, and I knew I was gonna have to travel soon, but I had this particular time, and I literally was brushing my teeth in the bathroom, making the beat for Big Bad Soca. And so that is an example of sometimes, you know, no matter where you are, the energy, whatever it is, you know, for me at least, I Tetris it, I kind of put the Lego parts together in my head as I'm going around my daily life. So sometimes if I look a little distant, or if I'm not completely present, I am present somewhere in a production space where this thing is going on. So yes, the thought and the intent is always there, but you know what, I kind of give myself to it. And I think that's something that a lot of creators do when it comes to writing, producing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Keshav, congratulations on all the fantastic work so far. Thank you so much for the news bed, because we love it, and we definitely use it every single day.
One of my coworkers is trying to make that note every day and frustrate me. So also thank you for that separation I go through all the time.
No, that's all right. That's great. Thank you so much, guys. And TNT, I love you. And as well, yeah, you can check out my socials everywhere. You know, I'm Keshav Trinidad, Keshav Trinidad, on all platforms. And you can check out my TikTok to see the creation of this TTT news music soundbed.
Nice. Thank you so much, Keshav. Enjoy your day.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Take care.
Respect.
You know, we're speaking about themes, and you know, like you said, it's so iconic when, you know, you can sing along to the themes.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember some of the themes from back in the day on TTT? This morning we're gonna test your knowledge. We have a quiz. Let's get into it one time now. Now, of course, because this is TV and we want you to call in and guess, we're not going to play the actual billboards, because that would definitely give it away, right? So I have some music beds. You can give us a call at 622-4010. I'm going to play the first one and see if I can figure it out.
Incredible. Listen to me, wherever you were running inside. Otherwise, you'd get buff because you
All
had
right,
to.
let me see if you guys know that one. 6224010.
Do you know it?
You know that one, Natalie?
I got Bufka. I don't know no.
No, I figured you wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
But give us a call and let me know if you know what that one is. What theme song, what show that theme song was for. 6224010. Valsin.
Oh, yes. Good morning, Daddy. Morning, Dad.
Hello?
Hello, good
Morning,
morning,
Daddy.
Valsin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Daddy.
Mm-mm. Is it really?
Community Dateline.
Yes, it is.
But yes, it is. It is. That is your dad, isn't it?
It definitely is.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. No, once I hear Valsin on the line, I go just say,
so
morning, Dad.
I appreciate your loyalty and commitment to viewing the No Morning Show. So
to supporting
just
his
keep
son.
calling.
Happy
Yes.
International
Happy
Men's
International
Day.
Men's
That's
Day.
important.
But yes, that was the
That
theme
is
song from
performance.
Community Dateline, which was an iconic and
not
remains
the
an
Ian Alleyne
iconic
kind of
talk show
performance.
part of Trinidad and Tobago history.
Definitely. And Alison Hennessy is an icon.
I was just about to say, I never absolutely knew that I wanted to do television or host and presenting and that sort of thing. But I remember looking at her like she had magical powers.
She did.
Because of this show.
She definitely
She
had
did it so
magical powers.
effortlessly, and it was something I emulated. And I guess subconsciously
your head.
programming myself to become a member of BTT.
I remember this first time I met her in real life. It was in the middle of Carnival. And it was so surreal because, you know, she's this person who you always see on TV and she's larger than life.
Yeah.
And in person, she goes, oh, you're good. And she
But
hugged
you
me
know
up.
what's
And
funny? I don't find that she has a Trini accent on set, though, when I listened to her just now.
Well, I mean, there was a particular era of us when we would speak and what we consider to be proper. And she also studied in England for some time. So she has that twist of a little bit of an English
Yeah.
accent. But we spoke like that on television because like Wendell was saying before, you know, it was that you put on this and you come on and you do the news and speak the proper way like the Queen wanted.
Not to mention that sense of seeing
Poor
yourself
Queen.
being a
Good
different
morning
thing.
to the Queen
But
of
let's
the
get that
biggest
Dateline intro
diamond
again
from
now.
out of
No,
South
moving on.
Africa.
Have a next one.
No, damn it.
Let me see if you know this one.
Well, I mean, it says what it is.
Go on, okay, on, so now.
But yes, I actually do remember this.
You remember it?
Because I used to do a little dance. I feel like you always had to. And oh wow, I'm not gonna repeat that. But
Give us a call,
Dig up come from
6224010.
nowhere,
so
from
why-
behind a back of bush.
why Natalie
Director.
is acting this way is because our director implied that the reason she's able to come into the country is because there are no boundaries. But that is not in fact the truth. And we will move to our callers.
Make a calm down myself.
622, well, Carrie Pichimo, good morning. Carrie
Good
Pichimo,
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know what theme song that was from? What show that was from?
Is it Community Dateline?
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
the first one. We did that one already. We got that answer. You didn't hear the second one?
No, sorry.
All
I
right.
was again.
All right.
No
Yeah.
problem.
Play
Play
it again.
rockers. All right, let's see. Come on.
Give us a call and see if you know it.
6224010. That's the number to call. If y'all don't know that one, boy, I don't know what to tell you, no? Way oh. Oh.
Oh, you know it?
I'm a fast learner, darling. That's the first time
okay.
in my life I've ever heard
That's
it.
what I figured. Give us a call, 6224010. It was a giveaway earlier. That one was
Sawa,
the
good
easiest one.
morning.
Sawa, good morning.
Is it no boundary?
It definitely is. Thank you so much, Sawa.
Thank you, Sawa. One more. Make we just roll them. Roll
Yes,
them
no.
out. Roll them
I want to
out.
play two more. I want to play two more. Play.
Two more.
Sound like it could be a trap song too, eh?
It could. Hey yo, check it. But the important,
Come on, give us a call,
Nice
622.
soap opera kind of music.
it could be a soap too.
It could be
Yeah,
anything. It
it's
could be
like a
anything.
nice soap.
And technically, the realities of Trinidad and Tobago could make it a very good soap opera.
Somehow,
Let's be
it
true.
reminds me, the theme music somehow kind of reminds me of Love Boat a little bit.
Your age difference is showing. Anyway, I think that this one is one that we can all
Arima,
remember.
good morning. Arima?
Sorry, Malabar to be precise. Okay.
Malabar.
Good
All right,
morning,
tell us
Malabar.
what show.
Panorama.
Definitely correct. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And for the generation that hadn't been exposed to this is literally the news bed, was the news bed, so that you heard this from anywhere and you knew it was that time to come inside.
Because the street lights was about to come on if they wasn't on already. All right,
Correct,
one more and then we
correct.
take the break. This one easy. This is the one actually that I would say our generation, I think, would definitely have learned. A lot of us learned to read, write, count, spell, how to be nice to people just by watching this show.
Oh.
Is this the right here? This is it.
No, it's not. It's not specific, but it actually was on TTT every single day.
And I know y'all don't want me to sing.
Correct. Can you tell me how to get
The new dance named Sesame Street.
That is not your version.
Banana, Sesame Street.
Stop it.
I know the Elephant Man version, I kid you not.
Ease on bread.
I need
What?
to-
I know the Elephant Man version.
Shanko Mananko.
St. James, good morning.
Good morning, darling. This is your biggest fan.
How you
Nothing to
doing?
behave yourself.
How you good?
Hi. I'm watching you a long, long time. All you a long, long time, and I didn't see you all. Panorama. Hello, this is Panorama. Francesco. Yes, you know.
Nice.
All of them, and of course, yes, that last one was Sesame Street.
All
And
right.
I talk to with my children. I tell them, you remember the elephants who didn't listen to all the instructions?
Oh, wow.
I
Specific for
always
the
use that
episode.
with my children. Hello, you're like the elephant on Sesame Street. Listen to the instructions. And then when I go in the grocery or on Charlotte Street and I see a crowd, I just say I would like a container of milk, a stick of butter, a loaf of bread,
A container of milk and a stick of butter.
And
remember that
anybody that's
episode.
in my generation, they start to laugh.
I love it.
Nice.
The nostalgia is
Thank you
real.
so much for sharing that with us.
Nice.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you, Ruckus'
Yeah.
biggest fan.
Yeah, I didn't realize I was giving it away, and I just got caught up in the music.
Well, it does say how to get to Sesame Street, so
Yeah.
you're fine.
Yeah. I also, actually just this week, Maria from Sesame Street celebrated 60 years on the show, 50 years on the show, something like that.
Yes.
And it's, yeah, the show is actually very, very, very dated, is what I would say. But they've been evolving it, and it's
Absolutely.
still been
I
a
think one of
great
the bigger
time.
developments most recently is that they have a Korean character, a puppet who is actually Korean, and she explains
I
her
didn't
name
grow up
and
with
those sort of
Sesame
things.
Street.
So Sesame Street is
Forgive me,
still an
folks.
iconic
Yeah.
part of children's learning and upbringing generations of now. But
All right.
that's it for the quiz this morning. So we hopefully not just gave you a little bit of
Unfortunately-
nostalgia, but made you feel pride in all the things that our
Teacher,
Trinidad and
I
Tobago
want
television
more.
programming has
I want
done.
more.
Next
She
time,
wants
Maxine,
more.
next time.
There will be more, just not today. Because for now, we are getting ready to speak to
I
just
said play
another
one and let
icon.
him guess what it is.
You see this one? I thought.
I don't know why she behaving this way,
I done.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been featuring people who have been a part of television for years and years and inspiring generations of people. And we have one more for you before the show ends. I want to welcome this morning producer, director, and he even read the news.
Yes.
Mr. Hansley Ojoda is joining us this morning. Good
The
morning to you,
honor.
sir.
And he will join us on the way.
Good morning.
Morning. You can stand here by the window
Sure,
so we
yeah.
all nice
I mean,
and
this
safe.
is your playing ground.
Yeah,
We
I
are-
mean,
we
you
are
wanna
the
tell us
newsmen
where we
here.
could
It's
sit?
Where
actually
should we
brand new.
position our
This
sit?
is not quite what I was accustomed to back in those days.
Yeah, just come and sit
Yeah.
down in the chair.
Open.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. Actually, the three. Good morning, everybody. Again.
Good morning.
The three programs that the music that you played,
Yeah.
I actually was on all three of them
Really?
Wow.
because I co-hosted with Alison on Dateline.
Dateline.
And I
No
anchored
Boundaries.
Panorama
You were-
News,
Panorama.
Yeah.
and of course I was in No
No
Boundaries
Boundaries
as well.
as an
Oh,
actor as well.
nice.
Yeah.
So,
And you were also in Sugarcane Arrows.
Correct. Yeah.
Nice.
You can catch it on YouTube. It's on
It's
YouTube
on YouTube
now.
still.
Yes.
Tell me something. I heard a very interesting story this morning about
boy.
the first time that you read news on air. Do you remember that?
Yes, Noel Simeon and I were across the road,
All right.
which was our usual foray on a Friday night.
Still is
Yeah,
for a
pretty
lot
much
of
a
for
staple.
Noel Simon
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
Still to this day. Carry on.
And we were across there. Sayo, I think it was what? It was about 6:30. Yeah, I was pulling Playway, I think, and you and I were across there with Buddy Andrews, and Tony Fraser. It was Tony. Ran
wow.
Tony Vern Burnett. Vern ran across the road, and I can't remember who was the anchor at the time. And,
Francesca.
all right, and she didn't turn up for work or something like that. And they told me, well, we need you to read news.
At 6:30.
Yeah. And
Sayo,
came across, I threw on my jacket because I had my Playway jacket on.
Okay.
And then I found myself on the set.
But just to be clear, right? What you was doing across in the place across?
I was having a club soda.
Right.
It was a common drink for Sayo and I, club soda and,
He's still drinking club
and
soda.
water. Yeah.
Still drinking club soda.
We wouldn't think otherwise.
Exactly.
You know?
But were you at all intimidated by doing that? I mean, that was the first time and you kept called last minute to do it.
I remember I've been doing television since 1986, since I was a teen. So being in front of the camera wasn't too difficult. The thing is that at that time, I think the Kursk, the Russian sub, was at the bottom of the Bering Sea. So we had, and then there was some conflict in Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Yes.
So we had all those kind of foreign names going on.
Yes.
And, but we had grown accustomed to it because I was already at the National Broadcasting Service and working on radio for 610 and 100. And I read news there. So it wasn't difficult at all for me. It wasn't, but we just got it. And after that, I was the anchor for Panorama, which meant that Sayo and I had to drink club sodas just a little later. We went after 8 o'clock. That's the way we did it back then.
Oh my God. Do you find television just as exciting now as it was then?
I enjoy my work now. As a matter of fact, I think I sent your producer the teaser for one of my films. Television back then was very interesting. I had some really extraordinary colleagues to work with. Alison Hennessy, the late Errol Pilgrim. Errol has passed. Gideon Hanuman Singh, Tony Harford. There were so many others during that time that I really loved. What was exciting for me, I got the opportunity to travel. TTT would send me as a correspondent for CARICOM. And one of the greatest moments I would remember, and one of the most exciting, and I think few of us could say it, I met Sir Sidney Poitier and interviewed him in Tokyo, Japan. So we were very alive. TTT was very much active. We were out on the streets a lot. As a matter of fact, the morning show, we used to be once every fortnight in Tobago, and we would go outside. We'd actually be in front of the building. Sometimes we would take it out on the streets. So we were very kinetic.
Yeah.
And that was something that I
Energy.
enjoyed, you know. There was a lot of energy. We were experimenting in those days, trying different things, which you all, I suppose, are the beneficiary of now.
Yes.
Because we decided that we were going to push the envelope and break the mold and try new
But
things.
then surely to do that, you must have the support of management.
We had a wonderful management. Of course, we didn't, should I say, the program directors back then were very cooperative. We had a cohesive unit. There was a lot of solidarity and among the staff. We looked after each other. And of course, CEOs would come and go and that sort of thing. We maintained a sort of a careful relationship. And what was most interesting is that you didn't see the interference that some other media houses talk about. Of
You're
course, there
telling
will
me
be
that a state enterprise did not necessarily have political interference at the time?
No, and you know, it's somewhat unfair sometimes when people say things like that, because there would be, sometimes a minister would call you up if you said something errant, but you had to remember you were working for a state entity.
Yeah.
So what else do you expect? That, you know, there's a certain line, not that you must toe, but there are certain parameters by which you must work within. And that's understandable. Otherwise, do your own thing, you know.
Things and
go
times have
outside of
really
it.
changed.
Yeah. So after here, I went on and got back into radio. And I went on to have my own radio station, 99.5. And then after that, I got into my first and real love, which is filmmaking and the making of films. I was trained in the area of television, I should say, and given the opportunity by the late, great Horace James, whom I consider my mentor and, of course, my father. And what he had done for me, I'm forever grateful for it, because he introduced me not only to No Boundaries. There's an interesting story about how I got onto No Boundaries. At the time, it was the most ambitious project at the time. And it was, I think the budget was somewhere around $250,000 back then, we're talking about 1987, 1988.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money back then. And I was at the secondary school's drama festival at Presentation College in San Fernando looking at the plays. And I was there with my girlfriend. And I remember I felt someone standing next to me. By then, I had already done about 5 plays of the month, almost every play that I had come out in. TTT, through Horace James, showed them. And one of them was actually shot in the studio. And Horace came next to me, and when I looked at him, I said, Mr. James, what you doing here? He said, I came to see you. I said, how do you know I was here? He said, well, I called your mother. And she told me that you're down at the secondary school's drama festival. And while there, he told me, he said, listen, we have an ambitious new project, very expensive project, the first of its kind, called No Boundaries. And I want you to play the lead. At that time, I was very, very inexperienced. And I had just done a couple stage productions. I really only broke out back in 1986, and it was just only 2 years after. And he was about to take a risk on me because you wanted me to be the lead of such a massive production with names like Brenda Joy Fahey and Grace Maharaj and others there. And I had the opportunity to meet Brenda Joy Fahey. Now, I had a secret crush on her.
Oh, boy.
And here I was, now she was going to play my girlfriend. But I was, very young at the time, but Horace gave me that opportunity. And I think that's an important thing, that Horace established a confidence in young people and in people. He brought that, I think, to TTT, whereby you don't write anybody off. It's the same thing. And today, with so many young people, so many young faces, on television, I think it's because of the work like Horace James, who saw the talent in people, Alison Hennessy, and others who saw, because Alison gave me an opportunity to come on Dateline with her, and I remained there until I left TTT some years later. So, and I hope that's a philosophy that they would continue now and continue to do it, because the future is in the hands of young people.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, look, you have 2 young people here.
Yeah.
Youngish. I starting to get grainy beard now.
Yeah. So, but I have the age.
Yeah, exactly. That's the difference, right?
So what's your excuse?
I stress, I guess.
I suppose.
We live in a stressful time.
Great training, you'll be fine. But guys, we are in the presence of somebody who can bestow a lot of knowledge, not just on us in front of the camera, but on persons who wish to be behind the camera. Because as you said, now you're in charge of your own radio station, we've got production and movies, a lot more happening, and still continuing to be essentially in front of the camera and help to shape.
I have very little desire to be in front of the camera now.
Right.
I actually turned down a job at a new television station because I'm really far more interested in producing and directing films.
Yeah.
One of the short films was actually shown here, a psychological thriller, a short film that I had done. And I'm actually putting it together with 2 other short films, and we're going under one banner. Diane has my main feature, which I've split into 3 parts, a 3-part miniseries called Infidelity. I had actually sent her the teaser for it. So really working behind the camera and watching the work of extraordinary people is far more fascinating to me than being in front of the camera. So it's far more rewarding, I should say, now.
What advice would you give to young persons who want to get into?
So who are here trying
to us who trying to make our way through it, but to people who are also interested in getting in and making that same difference.
I think what is very important, and my wife and I was actually having a discussion this morning about it, and we were talking about our son. And I think, first of all, you've got to be an avid reader. You've got to be a glutton for information. That's very important. Because doing this means that you've got to be able to talk off the cuff
And make sense.
and relate to people. That's one thing. Also, get involved in good theatrical groups. I'm happy that the arts are being taught, and it's part of the school curriculum now as a main part of the school curriculum, because that's where you get your feet wet.
Yeah.
And that's very, very important. But you've got to have discipline. Young people have got to exercise discipline. I was very disciplined until I came to TTT.
Until you came
We have
here.
a minute left.
All right,
We have
okay.
That's a joke. That's a joke. But no, discipline is very important. This requires a different kind of mindset and approach, and you've got to have that in you. Hone those skills now. Hone those habits, those attitudes now, and you're going to start to, if your ambition is to get into this very cruel, because this can be cruel. It's time consuming and it's labor intensive. And with that can come the rewards if you take the right approach.
I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning.